snuck a copy to Commander Gardner over here.
I read a piece of my life.
In the interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and deliver mine anyway. It is a great honor to be given such an opportunity to speak to you all today on behalf of the VFW's Current Conflict Workshop. My thanks and gratitude to Commander-in-Chief Gardner, soon-to-be Commander-in-Chief Treadwell, Junior Vice Commander Eubanks, Adjutant General Gunner Kent, my fellow Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, Persian Gulf veterans, and everyone else. My sincerest appreciation. During the Civil War, it was brought to the attention of President Abraham Lincoln that General Ulysses S. Grant was an excessive drinker. In fact, one of his closest advisors warned Lincoln that Grant was most of the time more than half drunk, and much of the time idiotically drunk. However, Lincoln was at a shortage for successful generals, and in spite of Grant's imperfections, he recognized Grant's value and simply replied, "If I can find the brand of whiskey Grant uses, I will promptly send a barrel to every one of my generals." Needless to say, Lincoln understood the importance of branding. There's no question among younger veterans that the VFW has an issue with branding and image. The stereotypes of older war veterans talking about war stories in bars resonates with many of us. True for some and false for others. While the VFW may not present the exacting image we please or do exactly the programs we wish, one day, now as before, the torch will be passed. And with that transition will lay the responsibility, the power, and the burden of knowledge that it is our challenge, our requirement, to ensure that torch is readily accepted by our next generation of war veterans. Jimmy Van Zandt, Robert Haney, Thomas Crago, Rice Means, Cooper T. Holt. These men built and shaped a body for veterans from nothing but their blood, tears, and sweat. This body was to be transformed to represent all eras of war veterans, and as such, this body was to be represented by all eras of war veterans. However, as current conflict veterans today, we know this is not the case. Any current conflict veteran in this room has a much better chance of running for Congress, running for the Senate, or simply running away than they do of having a shot at assuming VFW national leadership within the next 10 years. Some consider our leadership structure to be broken, to stifle innovation, and to encourage generational factions and kingmakers, all while bleeding the organization of many future high-quality leaders. There's little debate, few questions, and a lack of accountability for elected leaders. Our mission to help VFW survive is to assure that this is changed. The hour is critical, and even as I speak, the opportunity for each of us to build a bridge between previous generations and the new is eroding. Fellow current conflict veterans, we will have done ourselves and our children's generations a profound disservice if we forgo the legacy of an organization more than 100 years in the making. There's so much to be done, and the task will not be easy. Our current generation finds it much easier to passively join internet groups. Comrades, I can assure you this will not be sufficient. For the good of our work and the future good of our sons and our daughters who will join the military, we ask that you see the bigger picture. The VFW is not merely here for individuals. It is here for the collective. Make no mistake, we can talk about benefits, and we can speculate about power. However, without the VFW, the new GI Bill would never have been a reality. The GI Bill was not passed in the halls of Congress. The GI Bill was not passed by talking heads on airwaves in New York. The GI Bill was passed by vigorously persuading 535 senators and congressmen from the VFW grassroots. This possibility became reality as the VFW and the veterans that came before us forged an invincible alliance. Today, the importance of the VFW lies not only in canteens and not only in posts, but in local, grassroots, community organizations. This is why the VFW is such a force to be reckoned with. Whether posts have canteens or brick and mortar is of little matter. What is most important is that the VFW is strong and organized in every community, in every city, and every state in our United States. For the current generations of VFW veterans in power, great injury can be done to your own generation and and those that follow, if we do not make the tough decisions? How are we raising money? How are we spending money? What is our mission, and how does it need to be redefined? How do we bring all generations to the table at every level, both politically and professionally? Current conflict veterans are not being retained because the VFW doesn't look like them. And it is not presently being led by any of them. Clearly, as our leadership has pointed out, as is will not stand. As is broken, and continuing the status quo is absolutely unacceptable. The future of both our country and the VFW lies in a fragile state. I have the greatest confidence that we can all come together as equals, women and men, forged in the fires of war, from all different backgrounds and ethnicities, to make the changes necessary for a sustainable future. A body in which we once again come together as one, including representatives from all generations of war, respected as qualified by that measure alone. A body in which open discussion and frank debate lead the order. And in such a setting, we shall decide who will lead us. So my fellow current conflict veterans, again, I emphasize, the VFW is more representative of you with every additional member. However, let us never sell ourselves short of the bigger picture. That is, our organization, designed for all eras of war veterans, not to serve yourselves, but to serve our comrades that did not return home, our comrade in need, and our comrade's family. Comrades, we need you. The VFW needs you, and we need the VFW. This is a call to action. We must be the change we seek. Indeed, as Patton once said, never tell people how to do something. Tell them what is needed. Comrades, we need you to join. We need you to get your fellow service members to join, because our fight is never over when the guns are silenced. It has just begun. So let's get started, and together we will craft the VFW of the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin Brown, for those warm words and the call to action. At this time, I'd like to open it up for discussion. Now, a few ground rules. We're going to have two microphones, a microphone on the left-hand side, a microphone on the right-hand side. I've got two of my advisory group members that will be assisting those with the microphones. So if you have any questions or comments that you would like addressed, please come on up here to the front and grab one of the microphones, and let's see if we can open up the floor to some good discussion. I'd like to emphasize, last year we had an issue with individuals taking excessive